I'm here to crack down some cold, hard truths. First of all, mermaids. They're real. Get over it.
Hungry mermaid. Well, it looks like these people found a clever but simple way to attract mermaids. It's been hard for anyone to get some solid evidence to prove the existence of mermaids, but it turns out that food is a very effective method. The only issue with this encounter is that it was not the kind of mermaid that most people were probably hoping for. Most of us like to picture these mythical humanoids as peaceful and beautiful creatures, but this one looks like it is the exact opposite. It looks like these people had already received a tip about a strange creature in the area, and they were determined to find it for themselves. It had a very ghostly face with light blue skin, but it definitely had some humanoid qualities you might expect to see on a mermaid. However, it did not have a very pleasant aura, and it only seemed interested in the chicken. It didn't waste any time snatching the bait and taking it back to its underwater home, but the encounter definitely left these people in shock. No one has really been able to identify this hungry beast, but many believe it was a very angry mermaid that was not very welcoming of its new guest.
Up next is a Coast Guard sighting. This sighting really rocked the boat when it was first released. This mermaid was sighted by the British Coast Guard during a harsh storm in the North Sea. A ship had capsized, and as the Coast Guard was making their way out to recover sailors, they made this sighting. First, one Coast Guard spots what he thinks is a bobbing person disappearing in the choppy water and points out to it, but as they near, instead, a mermaid leaps out of the water across the path of the boat. You can see one Coast Guard actually reaching to the other side of the boat to try and grab what he thinks is a person. Thankfully, all sailors would be recovered safely, but the footage continues to raise questions.
Next on our list is the Mediterranean Sea sighting. Here's another trip that took a very unexpected twist. These travelers were hiking along the edge of a cliff when they stopped to get a better look at the water below. Everything seemed pretty normal at first until one of the hikers noticed a very strange anomaly resting on a nearby rock. Now, even though the video is a bit blurry, we can still see that this unknown beast is quite large. It had pretty similar proportions and features to other humanoid figures, but this one really shocked the unsuspecting hikers. It seemed like the potential mermaid really didn't want anything to do with humans and made a mad dash back into the water. Now, actually identifying the creature is nearly impossible, but many believe that a mermaid could be hiding somewhere in the Mediterranean.
And now for a trapped mermaid. Mermaids, like other saltwater creatures, cannot survive in freshwater for very long. So when a storm swept this poor individual inland, it could only end in tragedy. Locals tried initially to pull the mermaid from the water, but in its panic, it lashed out and injured one, driving the locals away. For 5 more days, the mermaid swam in circles before being discovered, catatonic, behind a rock. This footage was taken 3 days in after the mermaid had already weakened substantially. Thankfully, it was returned to the sea, but its fate is uncertain. Up next is a captured mermaid. This mermaid was allegedly spotted on the southeastern Mediterranean coast near Egypt and was captured by a group of local documentarians. Soon after the mermaid was captured, it sadly succumbed to its apparent injuries. It seems that the mermaid had either dragged itself or been dragged from the sea several meters inland into the sandy beach. It had likely already been rather dried out by the time that the documentarians arrived, but they seem more interested in getting their footage than in rendering first aid. The creature was, however, returned to the sea after filming ended, though it likely didn't do much to aid its chances.